Hello boys, this video will explain the recording of the transactions of the combination exercise. Before we can do that, you need to quickly read your information. It says Imran Pillay owns Durban Traders. They buy and sell electrical appliances using a markup of 40%. And I want you to highlight that because you will need it to calculate cost of sales. Then you can skip all of this information and go straight to transactions. The first transaction said the owner increased his capital contribution by 800,000 Rand by depositing the money directly into the business's current bank account. Now, the reason why capital contribution is important is because it tells you that this is a cash receipts journal transaction because we received money from the owner. And the reason why I've highlighted deposited the money directly into the bank account is because this indicates that this transaction is a bank statement transaction. So if we record it in the CRJ, it will look like this. The document will be bank statement. The date will be the 1st. The owner's name is Imran Pillay. It won't go to the folio column because it's not a debtor paying us back. It won't go to analysis of receipts because the owner paid the money directly into our bank account. So you put it directly into bank. And then it will also go to sundry accounts to the capital account. Please remember to reference your general ledger in this folio column, and capital is balance sheet account number 1. The next transaction took place on the 2nd. It said we issued a check to Pompeii Traders, 10,800 Rand for goods. Now the word check indicates that we are paying money. So this is a CPJ transaction. And the word goods is just a synonym for trading inventory. So in other words, we bought some trading inventory. In the CPJ, it will look like this. It will be check number 78. On the 2nd, we are paying Pompeii Traders. It won't go to the folio column because we're not paying back a creditor. The value must go to bank and to trading inventory. The next transaction also took place in the CPJ because we issued another check to Memo Traders for goods purchased. Okay, so it's very similar to the previous transaction. We are buying trading inventory. In the CPJ, you will say it's check number 79. Even though they didn't give us a check number, you should know that the check numbers follow each other. We won't write the 2nd again because we're still on the same day. We are paying Memo Traders. Memo Traders is not a creditor, so we skip the folio column. The value goes to bank and to trading inventory. Something that's important is that even though we've got 2 transactions on the same day, in the CPJ, the amounts go to bank separately. Okay, so you don't add them together. That only takes place for transactions on the same day in the cash receipts journal. Then the next transaction said cash sales according to the cash register roll. Okay, so both of these indicate that this is a cash receipts journal transaction, and it will look like this. In the CRJ, the document will be CRR. The date is the 4th. Every time we have a cash sale, the details is sales. Won't go to folio. It will go to analysis of receipts because we will put the money in our till. Remember, I refer to this column as your till. It will also go to our bank account because it's the only transaction for the day, so we can cash up our till and bank it. And it will go to sales. And now you still need to calculate the cost of sales using that markup of 40% and the cost of sales formula that you should know by now as 12,850 Rand. If you still struggle with calculating cost of sales, please send me a private message and then I'll help you with that. The next transaction said sold goods on credit to G. Peterson, 2,100 Rand, and we issued invoice number 38, and to M. Rashid, debtor number 1, for 2,520 Rand. In other words, we had 2 credit sales on the same day. So these are 2 DJ transactions. How do I know it's DJ? Because we're selling on credit. In other words, they will pay us later. and because we are issuing invoices, and that's the source document for the DJ. So in the DJ, you will say invoice number 38. On the 6th, the first debtor that bought something from us on this day was G. Peterson, who is debtor number 2. The selling price was 2,100 Rand, and if you calculate the cost of sales at a markup of 40%, you will get 1,500 Rand. The next debtor will also get an invoice number 39, because these two must follow on each other. It's still on the 6th, so you don't write the date again. It's to M. Rashid, who is debtor number 1. The sales value is 2,520 Rand, and you had to calculate cost of sales as 1,800 Rand. Then the next transaction was on the 11th. We issued a receipt to M. Rashid in partial settlement of his account for 3,200 Rand. Okay, so the word receipt indicates that this is a CRJ transaction because we are receiving money from M. Rashid. Okay, and what this partial settlement of his account means is that he's paying us back some of the money that he owes us. In the CRJ, the document will be number 51 because it's receipt number 51. The date is the 11th. The debtor's name is M. Rashid, and now we use the folio column because it's an interaction with the debtor. The money will go to our till, but it's the only transaction for the day, so you can draw that line indicating that you're cashing up your till and putting the money in bank. And because it's a debtor paying us back, it will also go to debtor's control. The next transaction said that we sold goods to M. Rashid, 1,120 Rand, and issued invoice number 40. Okay, so the reason why issued invoice is important is because we didn't specify whether this is a cash or a credit sale, but you know that invoices are the source documents for the debtor's journal. Okay, so in other words, we sold stuff to him on credit. In the DJ, it will be invoice number 40. The date is the 14th. M. Rashid is the debtor, still debtor number 1. The selling price was given to you as 1,120, and you had to calculate the cost of sales as 800 Rand. Quickly just look at this folio column. Remember what I said to you is that these numbers do not necessarily follow on each other, and it's numbers that are associated with every individual debtor. Okay, now when you go and look at the next transaction, on the 15th, it says, we received the monthly rent electronically from Al Lombard, a tenant who rents an office in the building, 9,000 Rand. Okay, so the word received indicates that this is a cash receipts journal because we received money. And the word electronically indicates that this is a bank statement transaction that will not go to analysis of receipts. It will go straight to bank. This money is received from someone who rents an office from us. In other words, it's for rent income. In the CRJ, you will say bank statement. On the 15th, Al Lombard is the tenant's name. The money won't go to analysis of receipts. It will go straight to bank, and it was received for rent income, which must be recorded in sundry accounts. Once again, remember your general ledger reference. Then the next transaction said we paid Telkom by check for the telephone account. So both of these words indicate that this is a CPJ transaction. They didn't give us the check number, but you know that this check number will just follow on the previous check number. In the CPJ, it will be check number 80. On the 17th, we are paying Telkom. Won't go to folio. The value must be recorded in bank, and we are paying our telephone, which doesn't have a column, so you have to write it in sundry accounts. Then the next transaction was on the 23rd. It said cash sales of goods with a cost price of 7,000 Rand. Now I made this in bold for a specific reason, because in this case, I didn't give you the selling price, I gave you the cost price. So you have to work backwards to calculate selling price. Then I hope you've noticed that the next transaction on the 23rd is also a CRJ transaction because it says G. Peterson paid 5,900 Rand off the amount owing on his account and we issued a receipt. Okay, now if we issue a receipt, it indicates that we received money. It's a CRJ transaction. Okay, so with these two transactions, you must be careful with analysis of receipts and bank. If we go and look at the CRJ, it will look like this. Okay, so the cash sales will be CRR. On the 23rd, the details for cash sales is always sales. Won't have anything in folio. It will go to analysis of receipts. In other words, our till as 9,800 Rand. Now, how did I calculate this 9,800 Rand? I said the selling price equals the cost price over 1 multiplied by 100 plus markup over 100. Let me quickly show you. Okay, so I said 7,000 Rand multiplied by 100 plus markup. In other words, 100 plus 40 is 140 over, which is the same as divide, 100 gives me a selling price of 9,800 Rand. Okay, the selling price won't go to bank yet because because it's not the only transaction for the day. It will go to sales and then the given cost price will go to cost of sales. The next transaction was also on the 23rd. We issued a receipt, number 52, because it follows on the previous receipt that we've issued. You don't write 23 again. We received money from G. Peterson, who is a debtor. So now we use this folio column because it's a debtor paying us back. He paid us 5,900 Rand. Now this is the last transaction for the day. So we can cash up our till and deposit the total money that we received for the day. In other words, the total of these two values into our bank account, which is 15,700. Please also remember to indicate what G. Peterson paid us for. So this 5,900 Rand from him was for paying back his account in debtors control. Then the next transaction was on the 26th. It said we bought the following from Pompey Traders and paid with a check. Okay, so we paid with a check. This means it's a CPJ transaction. What did we buy? We bought table and chairs and stationery. Okay, so what's important is we paid with one check because we're paying one company, but we bought two different elements. Okay, so if you think about it, the total amount that we will write on this check and that will go from our bank account is the total of 3,400 plus 240. In other words, 3,640. That's why in the CPJ you will record it like this. Okay, so you will say it's check number 81. On the 26th, we're paying Pompey Traders, and the total value that we're paying from bank is that 3,640. But we bought two different types of things. So 240 Rand will go to stationery, and the other 3,400 Rand will go to office furniture, because a table and a chair constitutes office furniture. And then the last transaction said cashed a check to pay for various repairs, 2,560 Rand. Now, cashed a check is important because it tells you it's CPJ. We are paying money, but the word cashed means that the details in the CPJ will be cash. Okay, so this is just an old-fashioned way of saying that we withdrew money to pay for various repairs. In your CPJ, it will be check number 82. The date is the 28th. You will write cash in details because we cashed that check. The value is 2,560 and it was for various repairs. Now, right at the end, I want you to remember to quickly total your journals. Okay, so if you total your debtors journal, you will get the following values. And then remember to reference your general ledger. This sales column will go to debtors control and to sales. This cost of sales column will go to trading inventory and to cost of sales. In the CRJ, you need to total your columns. and you will get the following totals. Then the bank column will go to bank. The sales column will go to sales. The cost of sales column will go to trading inventory and to cost of sales. And the debtors control column will only go to debtors control. And then lastly, in CPJ, you need to total your columns. And then your general references are the bank column will go to bank, trading inventory will go to trading inventory, stationery will go to stationery.